So at Smart Management, we're really, really excited about our partnership program with our clients. And so we have a customer partnership program where we actually give equity in our software business to the people who are the early adopters of our software. It's kind of like an ESOP, an employee stock ownership program, where your employees are with you, they vest into equity in the ownership of the entity of the company that they're working for. This is a little bit different because it's actually for you as a client of ours in our program. So if you're one of the early adopters of our software, you'll actually vest into and earn equity into our software company, Smart Management. And as we go public, as we grow, as we have large capital events in the future, you will be along on the ride with us. So Brian, when we first started talking about creating Smart Management as a software and as a solution to property management, project management, asset management, specifically in the real estate industry, but I know it's going to have applications in other industries as well. One of the early things was it's hard, right, to get people to move their management software and to utilize different workflow management softwares. And maybe their team's already been trained on one thing and getting them to move somewhere else. And so one of the early conversations was on, how do we attract customers and how do we keep customers? And we came up with a customer partnership program. So maybe you can explain a little bit more about the impetus behind creating that.
I would say it's probably one of the more important things that we're doing is giving me a high degree of confidence that we're going to win, right? Is that we're trying to align the value that we're providing to go knock down a real barrier to provide value, but also we're looking to get in the same boat with our customers, right? Like the way that we are partnering together, you and I, being able to bring a rock star team that can develop software and be extremely agile to go after things, but bringing the application side to it, I think is a great partnership, right? And I would say with our customer partner program, we're looking to expand that further, right? As we go into, let's say, similar verticals, different verticals, niche things, we're going to be looking to create those relationships, with our customers to go after that. And, really looking to provide the value. As we win, they win in regards to the financial side of it.
One of the big benefits in partnering with us as a customer partner in Smart Management is that you get to benefit in the upside of a software business. As a real estate entrepreneur and as a real estate investor, I could take a $5 million apartment building and make it worth $7 million. But then I'm kind of capped, right, on how much I can increase income and decrease expenses and put those efficiencies in place. And maybe I can hope for additional appreciation over time. But the reality is the value is kind of capped. The beauty about business and having ownership in business, like our customer partners will have in Smart Management, is that they get limitless upside potential, right? And so as we continue to grow the business, as we continue to bring on more customers, as we continue to expand into different asset classes and different industries, our partners are along for that ride. And there's limitless income potential. There's limitless upside potential on that for them to go with us, right? And so now they can keep on doing what they're already doing. It doesn't take them away from their property management and asset management and project management, things that they're doing. And at the same time, they're able to have a little piece of equity in something that could be a multiple billion-dollar corporation in the future and potentially go public or have some other large capital event, either a private equity purchase or partial private equity purchase, or some sort of capital event in the future. And they can get a sizable check when that occurs. And I think it's a great way, to your point, of saying this is a win-win, right? We want to create stickiness, right, in our customer partners, and we want them to see us as partners. We want real-time feedback from them on what's working and what's not working, or what they'd like to see different in the software, so that way we can make it the best in class, hands down. We already truly believe it is, and make it even that much better and really dial it up to the nth degree of being the best project management, property management, and asset management software in the marketplace. Brian, let's talk a little bit about the 10, 20, 30 target goals. I think this is something that really quantifies and identifies what our goals are with the management software and how it's going to directly impact operators.
So we're talking about Smart Management being in multiple industries, but our first vertical we're tackling is commercial multifamily, right? So I would say that 10, 20, 30 was all derived around what are the key indicators that drive profitability, right? So looking to drive things from an 85% occupancy rate up to 95, right? So that's essentially a 10% increase in revenue, right? That's our first target, looking to, in that caps range, we're talking about 100% turn on profits, right? So we're really trying to drive top line growth as well as profitability in that regard. The second one, the way we start to identify that is our 20% reduction in repetitive tasks, right? We can't just say, go work harder and things magically happen. And we can't just say work smarter. If they would have, they could have, right? We're looking to provide ways to allow people to work smarter so that their hard work turns into value, right? So that, looking for a 20% reduction in repetitive tasks to chase the highest important things to drive revenues. I would say the last one is from that ownership group perspective, trying to drive down schedules and burdens by 30%, in terms of doing a stabilized project.
Reducing timelines by 30% is so powerful.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at your ROI calculation, it's a game changer in regards to turning capital from an investment side. And, we're targeting on operations because we know that's what drives things. But at the end, it's an asset. It's a machine. We're trying to drive it from an investment perspective. And that timeline, the more we can turn capital, the more value we create.
So I'm hearing the 10, 20, 30 is 10% driving more revenue, 20% reducing headaches, 30% decreasing timelines.
That's the goal.
And as we do all three of those, it increases efficiencies, it reduces expenses, it increases income, and it creates a more effective property, which creates more demand, not only in cash flow, but in enterprise value of that property.
Certainly in enterprise, right? Because what we can't do is create a process around one person, because I can't transfer, right? We want all the operating procedures built in such that it just turns the crank, right? Everything's integrated in this such that when we go to transition the asset, all of it goes. You're not just buying the property, you're buying the whole underpinning that goes with it. That software database is now something you could transfer as an asset, right? You now don't have to trust the paper copies. You can go down and start looking at the data over history because we're not deleting things, right? So you're able to hide things, archive things, right? That data is always there. So from a value perspective, I can convince my future buyer, I actually did the right things. Look at this, go do the due diligence.
I do a lot of coaching, right? For 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure businesses. And there's a big difference on how the 6-figure businesses run their business versus multiple 7 or 8-figure businesses. It's run like a real business. The 6-figure is, hey, I have a high paying job. But at the end of the day, the bottleneck is typically the operator. When you get into multiple 7 and 8-figure type businesses, which is what we're talking about doing, is this software can take any 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure property and make it a real business.
Yep.
And because of the automations, because there is no bottleneck of any one individual, it can be transferred to a new ownership group, all the backstories there, what supplies, what materials, what contractors, all the communication with the tenants, the leasing, the documentation, the work orders, everything is there, can move right over to the new ownership group, and they can have that level of confidence in buying that asset as a truly turnkey asset. See, the caveat here is that time is of the essence. We are only going to give equity, the plan is right now, to the first 100,000 early adopters, 100,000 doors that we early adopt into the software. My team alone is going to bring about 4,000 doors, right? And so we're reaching out to different management companies. We're connecting with all the different real estate operators in my network. And so time is of the essence. We're going to get to 100,000 doors very, very quickly. And the first 100,000 doors of early adopters will be the ones that get equity in smart management. If this is something that's of interest to you, please click the link in our bio, and we would love to talk further about becoming a partner in smart management.